Hello, friends. My name is Mac Wilson, and I'm joined in the current studio by Franz Ferdinand, Bob, Alex, Julian. Thanks for stopping by today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So you just played some songs in the current studio, and one observation that I had off the top of my head, the last one that you played, what was the name of that one?
Oh, Bar Lonely, yes.
Bar Lonely. So one of my favorite bands ever is Belle Sebastian, which I'm sure that you've heard a lot because you're both from Scotland, but I've never put together really much of a sonic link between the two. But hearing that in the stripped-down piano version, I'm like, I can hear the link here between the two.
That's cool. I mean, those guys are kind of contemporaries of ours and certainly friends of ours. And we actually, in a roundabout way, have to thank Belle and Sebastian for the formation of the band, because Mick Cook, who used to play trumpet in Belle and Sebastian, gave me a bass guitar, and it was that guitar that Bob came around to my flat and started playing bass with, and was kind of the genesis of the band, really. So thanks, the Bells.
That seems to be the case with Belle and Sebastian. Like any given member of the band, they could probably have their own band, but they work so well as a collective. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, they were great. But I mean, Stuart Murdoch is like an incredible talent, though, as well. Like a brilliant songwriter.
He's a real story songwriter, I think.
Yeah,
there's a crossover there with Bar Lonely, because it's kind of a
that's true. Actually, yes, yeah. He's very good at characters as well. Like the characters always seem very vivid and believable.
Yeah, well, they often are real people as well.
Yeah. I guess that's what we were going for. Like Bob and I wrote that song Bar Lonely together after going to the real place. It is an actual bar in the Golden Guy, which is in Tokyo. And so we were inspired by that to write the song.
Yeah, Belle and Sebastian, they have a couple of songs about Tokyo, too. I wanted to make sure that you were on good terms with the band, so I'm frantically Googling beforehand. I'm like, Franz Ferdinand, Belle and Sebastian. And Alex, I found your cover of La Paste de la Bourgeoisie from a couple of years back, and I'm like, okay, he knows the deep cuts, so that's...
Actually, a very early press shot of Belle and Sebastian, when they were averse to having photographs of themselves, was just a photograph of Alex.
Yeah, from about 1996, it's a picture of me with my favourite bike. It's this old 1940s rally on Byers Road in Glasgow. Yeah, that was that press shot.
And we got to go look that up at some point. But we are here with Franz Ferdinand in the current studio right now. So the new record is out now, The Human Fear. And I was both surprised and heartened by the fact that this is your 6th studio album. And I feel like that's good spacing with it. It feels like you are able to keep in what makes you special as a band without it feeling like, we have to keep up like Guided by Voices level, like a new record every single year, where you can be you and we remember who you are and yet still be pleasantly surprised by each subsequent release. So what prompted getting back together and deciding now was the time for the new album?
I mean, it wasn't really a case of getting back together. It was just when everything was ready, I suppose. You can't really predict how it's going to come out and what the timing is going to be. And I've no idea what the next one's going to be, whether it's going to be 6 years or 6 months. It's ready when it's ready, like all the good things in life.
One lyrical thing that I've noticed with one of the songs, Audacious, that you played here, where you said, don't stop being audacious, is the idea that you're not resting on your laurels at all. Even when you look back at themes like Always Ascending, you're never just sitting back, you're always moving on to the next thing. And that seems to be what you're doing with this new one as well.
I definitely feel that I think we all do, don't we? That you can't sit back and just enjoy what you've done. If you do that, then you cease being an artist. It's like you become a tribute act, a tribute to the band that you were. And I love playing the old songs that we've got live, but only because they've got the new ones company.
When you talked about being a tribute act, that isn't necessarily the case, but you had the Hits album that came out a couple of years back. So as you're out on this tour now, do you think of it like, okay, we're going deep back into the well, we're changing it up with different deep cuts every night, or are you keeping it more focused on the new stuff? So what's the set list? Which form are they taking on a night-by-night basis?
Yeah, we've been adding some deeper cuts from early albums here and there, and then rotating the songs that were on Hits to the Head, because that's one of the great things you can do. I'm playing a lot of the new album, there's a big mix really, which is refreshing for us. It's nice to do that after having toured the greatest hits for 18 months or whatever it was.
And we're pretty quick with picking stuff up as well. I'm pretty sure Evil and a Heathen came about, which we're playing in the set, because we were just like, oh, should we try that one? And then it just kind of happened, and it was like, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So the band feels very kind of flexible at the moment, and feels like we can just pick stuff up and when we want to, which is great.
So here's a question I'm curious about. So when you hit the scene, I was in college at the time when the self-titled album came out, and I remember thinking, okay, we've got to do the European pronunciation, Franz Ferdinand. And then I was on the air the other day, and I said, well, that's Franz Ferdinand. So I've totally Americanized it over the last 2 decades, and I don't know how that happened. So I'm wondering where you're at with it.
I've never said Franz. That doesn't make any sense.
I say
to me.
Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah, Americans always say Franz. I'm like, what's going on here?
Oh, so that's Americans trying to sound British. That's amazing. I didn't understand. I thought that was Americans just being American.
We're trying to do you justice by going,
incredible.
this is the European pronunciation,
so
Franz.
Do you want to hear our American accents? They're really bad.
I think maybe in German that would be like how you'd say it. I don't know.
Oh, no, because Nick used to pronounce it like a German person. Well, actually, to be specific, like a Bavarian person, which is not like a regular
I guess
German
Austrian
person.
would be more accurate.
Yeah, it's more like an Austrian accent. Like he would call Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah, that's right. You put a T in it.
France.
But no, I don't. I guess go Franz because
maybe it's like the Z in pizza. Maybe it has like an unwritten T.
Maybe.
I don't know.
And see, you say that like Zed. There's absolutely no Zed in the American
you're
lexicon.
a Z, aren't you? Yes.
Absolutely none whatsoever. Like there's places where we pick up, various UK-isms and whatnot, but no, Zed, absolutely
Right.
not.
What do you mean? Do you mean you don't use the letter in your spellings? Because I've noticed.
No, they call it a Z.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So we use the letter, but just at the actual
Yeah, but you replace S sometimes, don't you? And use a Z instead.
Yeah.
Oh, like in which case?
I can't think of off the top of my head. Isn't that right? It's like Americanizations of
Yeah.
things.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
Or like
yeah.
Americanization would be with a Z rather than an S.
That's true. Yeah,
That's weird, isn't it?
It's fascinating. Yeah, there are some things like you get in America that are much older, like they're sort of like bits of Old English that survive. Like I always find it fascinating when people say, I don't know, say it in Minneapolis, it seems more like a New York thing to me, but like gotten. I've gotten something.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say gotten?
Yeah, I've gotten that before.
Okay.
So, yeah.
See, that to me sounds really archaic, but like beautiful that it's been preserved. That's really cool.
So here's a word that's difficult to say in American parlance that UK-wise, Scottish, that works fine. The word is spelled L-O-R-D.
L-O-R-D.
Lord.
See, yeah, it sounds fine with you, but my Minnesotan accent, it always comes out as Lord. So it manages to become 2 syllables no matter what I do. I would have to sound British in order for it to be just the 1 syllable. Otherwise, it's always Lord.
Lord.
I hate
Oh, that's
saying
you can hear every letter though, which is good.
Lord.
Because I say it like Lord, and it's there's no R in it.
Yeah,
Right.
Lord.
You completely drop the
L-A-U-D.
R.
Yeah. Well, how would you pronounce? This is the one that always gets me. Right. So you know the big reflective piece of glass that you look in to see yourself. How would you call that?
A mirror.
I always find that so funny. Like because it just sounds like it sounds like mirror. Like it sounds like all the vowels are like kind of rubbed into each other. Where I'd call it a mirror.
A mirror. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's a mirror.
Oh, so you just
I even toned down the Minnesotan a little bit.
Okay.
Mirror.
Oh yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
See, to me, it just sounds like mirror.
And we haven't even gotten into like the A, like bag. They could pick up a bag of something.
A bag.
Is that what you say?
Wow.
A bag.
Do you say bag?
It's not bag, it's bag.
Do you know? I love the thing you did the other day where you tried to get your name written on your coffee cup.
Well, no, people don't understand when I say my name, like in Starbucks or whatever. So I'm like Bob, and they're like, "What?" And I know that Americans go Bob, so I was like, "It's Bob," and then they wrote Barb as in Barbara.
All right, so here's a word that's fairly universal between the languages. The one that caught my ear on the new album, The Birds.
Oh yeah.
So that's about pigeons.
Well, pigeons kind of like appear as a metaphor, sure, yeah. It's about acceptance after rejection, I guess, which is kind of a more and more common theme in the era of social media. Mm-hmm. You know, it's something that happens a lot more easily, social isolation. There was an amazing book by John Ronson called "So You've Been Publicly Shamed." I don't know if you read that, but like it talks about that issue very well. And while the song's not about that specifically, I think it's something that we do come across a lot.
But that is sort of the plight of the pigeons, too, where they were domesticated and then totally abandoned to the cities. So, I mean, it does
really
fit in with that.
Yeah.
I asked because we have a flock of pigeons that we keep at our house, so I was really excited.
Oh, have you got one?
Where there's a
Okay,
reference in the song to pigeons. I'm like, you're talking about the birds. This is great.
Well, I guess like when you look at a flock of pigeons, I was thinking of pigeons in George Square. Like they're all anonymous. Like none of them are judging each other. They're just accepting that they're all in the flock. And I was imagining somebody who'd been ostracized and repelled from society, wanting to blend in and be just like another mangy pigeon and accepted by the flock, and not wanting anything grand in their life other than just to be anonymous and to be accepted.
Well, here's something really interesting for you, Alex, because we have 6 pigeons that we keep at our house, and 2 sets of them have paired off, and they're laying eggs, which leaves 2 of them left out. So I was even thinking this morning, I'm like, they must feel ostracized.
That's fascinating. There you go. Wow.
So maybe it isn't as easy an escape as we think.
I know. Maybe I should have looked into the social behavior patterns of pigeons before I used it as a metaphor.
What is keeping pigeons a common thing in North America?
It's not super common. Cities,
Are they homing pigeons?
They are homing pigeons.
Cool.
So you keep them in a coop that's maybe the size of one of those stands there, and they've got a couple of entrances where they can come and go, and you can close them, and you feed them on the side, and then you can let them go, and they will fly around for the whole day, and then they'll come home at night.
It's quite a very traditional hobby in northern England. It's keeping pigeons. Right they're northern UK. Do you know what do they call people who keep pigeons in America?
Oh boy, I don't. The phrase escapes me,
because you become called a pigeon fancier.
A pigeon fancier, yeah.
It's quite a romantic term.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's really satisfying. Like taking your wee pal like hundreds of miles away, and then when they come back, it must just feel great.
Yeah.
We don't quite take them that far, but they
do in the UK. Like the pigeon fanciers,
sure.
will take them like really long distances.
Do you know a song called "The King of Rome"? It's a children's book, I think, originally called The King of Rome, and it's about a pigeon fancier who has his favourite pigeon. And there's a band called the Unthanks who are from the northeast of England, and they wrote. I think they covered the song. I don't know if it's a cover or if it's their original song, which you have to excuse me for that. But it's called The King of Rome by the Unthanks. It's absolutely incredible. It's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. It's about a pigeon fancier in Derby racing his favourite pigeon, and it's absolutely heartbreaking and incredible.
Wonderful. Well, we'll add that to the playlist at some point.
Cool.
Franz Ferdinand, thank you for taking the time to stop by today ahead of your show in Minneapolis tonight, and best of luck with what's next.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a lovely chat. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Current is public media made possible thanks to member support.